we want to make sure we are going to state-ran websites. These sites are kept up to date. They're the most informal that you can get the most current information from. No offense to Jimmy Bob's hunting blog from 2009, but I'm sure it's great and all, but it's definitely not up to date. So when we're going to do our research for the rules and regs, if you're having difficulty finding stuff online, you know, try to find a conservation officer, Texas Ranger, State Parks Ranger, and they can definitely direct you in the right direction. So, and they're all a little bit different, and they all have a little bit different way they lay out their websites, the way they lay out their regulations. Some states are going more digital these days. You used to be able to just go buy or wherever you bought a hunting license or fishing license, and you could get the brochure or book that had all these rules and regulations in them. With, you know, the development of technology in the day and age we live in, a lot of this stuff's going digital, online, apps. You know, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, most everything of theirs is online. Wyoming Game and Fish Department, theirs is almost all online. You can still get booklets from both when where you purchase your fishing licenses. New York is online and still providing booklets to the best of my knowledge at this time. Texas is doing things a little bit different. They're really heavy on the digital front. They have their own app. It's ran by the Texas Parks and Wildlife. Texas is a little bit different, and some of the other states you may be hunting in may be a little bit different too. Not only do you have to look at their general regulations, but if you're hunting Forest Service, you have to look at their regulations. If you're hunting Army Corps of Engineers, you have to look at their set of rules pertaining to specific parcels that you may be interested in hunting. And then you can narrow your searches down to like specific rules pertaining to the specific game you're trying to pursue. You know, season dates, open closed areas, splits in seasons. Everybody does it a little bit different, so these are why we really want to make sure we're looking into the regulations and not assuming that because it's this way here, it's this way there, right? So, you know, and then each species can have different regulations pertaining to the area in. Some areas allow doe hunting, some areas do not. Some areas will have point restrictions on bucks, some areas won't. You know, specific hunting hours, specific hunting methods. So all these things we really got to know, and it takes time, so do your homework. Make sure you are looking into all these little intricacies throughout their regulations and maybe any types of different areas, especially when you're looking for public land access points. You know, a lot of this information is provided on these websites, and this leads us into our second point, which is public land and access points pertaining to public land. We should utilize the state resources that are available to us from any mapping and identifying access points that they provide specifically for areas on their websites in their rules and regulations. But we do have other tools in the bag to help us with this. There's plenty of apps out there. They're all pretty good. I'm gonna talk from the one I use the most and I have the most experience with, and that's onX Hunt. It's a great app. I've been using it for 6 years now. I really enjoy the app. They offer a free trial and multiple levels of packages for what you're looking for. I pay the $100 for everything. That gives me all the lower states in the lower 48 with all the different map layers that come with that. And it's an annual fee of $100, so it's not all that bad for me for the amount of hunting I do and the amount of moving around and different areas and places. I'm traveling quite a bit. I see something that might spark my interest and I can pull it up in onX and look at it. The map layers are crucial with that. They They give you property boundary lines pretty close GPS wise. They'll give you basic landowner information, where if you want to dig deeper and try to get permission on private, you have a starting point there. They give you the names of the public points, so if you're doing some map study and you're like, oh, this looks good, you can click on it, it'll give you the name. It even has a link to the state ran website for it, so you can do a little more research and see some of those regulations that may pertain to that specific piece of property. And we can go on and on about onX, and I'll probably cover that in a different episode, especially with the multiple layers, private land, public land. It gives you U.S. Service, it gives you Bureau of Land Management, it gives you National Forest, it gives you all these options.